I started a couple of companies, they failed. And then I was bankrupt again. And then I started the third company, that also failed. Then I started the fourth company, that also failed. And after 7 or 8 failures, I accepted that I am not going to make it. I was feeling depressed, but at the same time, I was building random websites of random companies which I thought should be there. And that made me realize that I am a creator at heart. I started building websites for other people. I started hustling. I started working for people. I worked for a bunch of people for free. And I just told them I need a seat at the table. Today, I'm here to convince you that in 2022, why every single person needs to be a creator. Why they should be a creator. Do you know that some of the greatest inventions in human history that happened in last 100 years took more than 30 to 50 years to gain mass adoption? People did not respect innovators enough. If you look at our history in last 100 years, innovations like refrigerator, electricity, telephone, washing machine, microwave, all of these inventions took more than 50 years to get mass adoption. Today, I'm here to convince you that in 2022, why every single person needs to be a creator, why they should be a creator. Hello everyone, my name is Ayush and I am the founder of Pesto Tech. I'm here today to share my journey with you and the mistakes I made, the learnings I had along the way, learning it the hard way. I belong to Varanasi and I spent, my initial few years there. I grew up there, and by the time I finished flying my kite, my school age was past. In 2007, I came across this iPhone launch in which Steve Jobs was launching an iPhone the first time, and that really stuck with me. I got motivated by that because I was a lot into computer gaming. I used to enjoy playing games. I had a computer, and I realized that this computer can go in my pocket. And I was fascinated by that. I got into building websites, learned how to code, and really wanted to explore the possibilities which this phone brings with it. And I always wanted since then to do something like this, to be a builder, to do something like Steve Jobs did. And I was inspired by him. And I keep saying this that, I grew up in Varanasi, but I feel like I grew up on the internet at the same time. And that gave me exposure to this world of entrepreneurship, to this world of being a creator. And I feel all entrepreneurs are actually creators at heart. They like building stuff, and whatever they build, if it ends up making money, that ends up being a business, right? And today I'll talk about step-by-step journey which I had and also the learnings which I had along the way. So I started back in 2007, started my coding journey early in my school, and I got into the same race of engineering, like every single person in school. If you don't take science, you're not smart enough, right? The smart guys always take science. So I ended up taking science just because all my friends were taking science. And I ended up being in the same race which everyone was running, which was to apply for IIT JEE, right? I only later realized that there are more than 22 lakh people who apply for IIT JEE, and there is a space for only 2,000 people to learn computer science there, which is crazy, right? And I would say, like, even using probability game, I wouldn't get there if there are, enough people who are as smart as me. So I think, and I'm not so smart, so I was like pretty confident I would make it. But I ended up in an engineering college anyways. After I reached college, I started asking my teachers and my seniors, what can I do to really learn how to build apps and how can I build my career in this direction, right? First of all, my teachers told me that you have to be in class for 75% of the time, right? 75% attendance. You all know what I'm talking about, right? And at the same time, they told me that you have to be in class, but college education will not really build your career. You have to work hard outside of college. You have to learn how to code online, etc., etc. And I was like so confused because that's exactly what I was there for. And things didn't add up. And then I started talking to my seniors, started talking to people who actually are engineers. And I was like, how are you feeling? You are now a software developer, right? Do you know how to build apps? and everybody was so confused. I was trying to ask them that whether did they learn how to build apps in college or not, and I always got a sad story out of them. Every single person complained about their college education, and when I looked around me, people were playing games all day. They were having, they were doing everything else except what I thought I was actually there to do. So after 6 months or so, in my first year itself, I decided that I'm going to leave my college because my goals were different and pursue a different path. I had to convince my parents, which is an impossible task when you have a big list of relatives. So I decided not to tell them, and I decided to just take a leap of faith, right? This decision is a big one on the journey of being a creator. This is not just about leaving college, but this is also about taking risks. Every single person around me at that time told me that don't take risk. You need a path, you need a degree. If you don't have degrees, how are you going to get married? And all those kind of stuff, right? And I realized that that is there because that's just like been the way of doing things, right? So it was a huge risk for me to leave college, but I still ended up taking it. And I think looking back at that decision, I feel I saved 3 years of my life and learned a lot more than I could have in a structured environment. And that really helped me. So I think the learning which I got from there was that the biggest risk which you can take is to not take any risks, right? So always it looks dangerous looking forward, but I think looking backwards, the dots do connect. So I left my college and started building out businesses, right? I started building websites for other people. I started hustling. I started working for people. I worked for a bunch of people for free. And I just told them I need a seat at the table whenever you're doing a high-level strategy meeting because I wanted to reduce unknown unknowns from my life. I read a lot of books. I think books were one of my favorite things because you could learn things in a quick manner without really having to experience the pain behind it, right? So books were helpful, but at the same time, I needed practical experience. I did internships for a bunch of people for free, ended up building a TV show, ended up, running a small food delivery company, etc., etc. And that really taught me what really goes into building any kind of company, right? And that gave me the confidence or the path to start my own companies. I started a couple of companies, they failed. And then I was bankrupt again. And then I started the third company, that also failed. Then I started the fourth company, that also failed. And after 7 or 8 failures, I accepted that I am not going to make it. It was a very down period. I spent months in isolation. My parents were expecting me to graduate a year later or 2 years later. And I was very confused. I really thought that, maybe I should have listened to my parents or other relatives. Every single person around me started questioning me that, Ayush, what are you doing? Like, you're really spoiling your life. And my friends would really demotivate me by sending me like memes and stuff like that around designing websites. And it was really depressing, right? And after spending those 3 months in isolation, I realized one thing, that I was feeling depressed, but at the same time, I was building random websites of random companies which I thought should be there. And that made me realize that I am a creator at heart. I like building things. I like creating value. I did things, which created value. So I have the intent at least, right? So I thought, why don't I just take a one-way flight to San Francisco, to Silicon Valley, and learn things from there, right? And that really taught me the second lesson, which I feel is really, really important in life, which is traveling. That was my first trip to anywhere outside India. And I realized that traveling gives you perspective in life. And meeting different kinds of people is one of the biggest things which you can do in your journey as a professional in general. When I went to SF, I realized that those people were actually not smarter. They had clarity and they had opportunities. They had direction and they had opportunities. And when I actually went there, I was a software developer in India, right? And I used to look for jobs, and the jobs which I would get, I was not really as excited about those jobs in general. But in SF, I realized that even an intern gets paid more than 40 to 50 lakhs. Even a developer who is just starting their career, the average salary for a fresher is $120,000, which is more than 18 to 90 lakhs. And that was shocking to me, When people started giving me those kind of pay packages, I was really confused. Because I thought being a developer is not as exciting, because I had, just done like a conversation with about 100 of my seniors who were all depressed, right? And I was like, this is not adding up. What's wrong? And that really made me realize that there are two things which are actually at the core of this problem. First one, people don't have clarity. They don't have direction. There are too many unknowns for them, right? So if we reduce those unknowns and show them the path, they can actually walk that path, because everybody is hardworking, right? So I identified a problem statement here, that why are developers not even going for these opportunities which are available? The second thing I realized was spotting an opportunity. That opportunity was, I attended this conference called Startup Grind, where Balaji Srinivasan, who was founder of Earn.com at the time, was talking about how to build a remote team, and how do you make culture so great, and how you can work from anywhere and you don't have to go to an office space. And this is back in 2017, right? So it sounded really weird. So I heard him, I had a chat with him, and I was convinced after doing some research that the world is headed in a direction where everybody will be working from different places. I developed my conviction. And if that is true, I spotted the opportunity. If that is true, then Ayush can be paid 50% of what Ayush would make in SF, right? And work from India at half the price. I realized that Ayush can make 50% less money and work from India for those companies and still be successful, right? And that was the opportunity which I spotted. I came back to India. I looked at the developers. I realized, I tried to convince them that why don't you come into this program, and in 3 to 5 months, we are going to train you. And once you're ready, we are just going to show you direction, by the way. We'll show you the direction. We will give you the path. And then we will match you to the right opportunities, right? And we made them believe in themselves, right? And it's been 2.5 to 3 years. These people today, I think the first 100 developers of Pesto today are making more than 35 crores, right? Which we couldn't have thought we would be able to pull off when we started this, right? All we saw was that there is an opportunity and there is some value. If you're creating value and the world is changing and it's going in a certain direction, that's an opportunity. You try to combine those two and you have a business, right? And I think with that thought, we are on a path where we are trying to create this university which is actually built for 2025 or 2030, like the university of tomorrow. So after being on this journey for last few years, I realized that there are only a few simple things which I think everybody should follow, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a developer or not. It doesn't matter if you're a business person or not. It doesn't matter who you are. If you don't know how to code, there are no-code tools out there. If you don't know about business, go on the internet, figure it out. No matter who you are, today you should start something. When you start something, then it's not just the business which you are trying to build, it's also the learnings which you are trying to have in the process of building it. And I think that learning can only be achieved via one mechanism, which is by actually trying it out. This learning only happens by having a practical experience, right? And I would say, like, on this journey, if you really want to get started, there are only a few things which I realized that can really be life-changing for you, which is, and these are 4 values which I really stand by, and these 4 values are 4 H's. Being happy, humble, honest, and hungry. If you stick to these values and you build anything which creates value, it does not have to be a business. It can be a product, it can be, something in tech, it can be something in non-tech, it doesn't matter. As long as you're building something which creates value, it's going to really make a difference. I think most of the people get stuck. I tried to identify where do people get stuck, right? Most of the people get stuck, or most of the people fail. I think I have had about 8 or 9 failures before starting Pesto. And people say you have had a lot of failures, right? And I look at them and I actually tell myself that it's actually not me who had more failures. It's actually the person who never started anything is the person who had most failures. If you never start anything, you're failing by default. So don't be afraid of failures. Start something, do it. You will either get success or learning from it, right? One of the ways to visualize this is that being a creator is like running a horse cart, right? And a lot of people think that you are sitting in the horse cart and someone is driving that horse cart, and that horse cart is actually a business which is, running. Some people who are really smart will come on YouTube and tell you that you can't just sit back on the horse cart. You actually have to hold the leash. You have to hold the horses, and you really need to be in control. And you are the one who has to drive the horse cart, right? That's what I've seen most people who talk about things tell you, right? You're not the person in the horse cart. You're the person riding the horse cart. I think from my experiences, what I've really learned is that you're actually not even the person who is riding that horse. You are the horse. You are the one who is the creator. You have end-to-end ownership of everything. And if you don't want to do it, the world will not give a shit. So if you want to be a creator, I think I have like very simple requests for you to really understand some of these points which I learned over time. The first one is that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So don't wait for anything. Go do it. Start something. It could be something really small, but try to start something. The second thing is, people think that job security is the most important thing, right? I think that's the biggest risk, because if you are not taking risks, you're not learning. And not taking any risks becomes the biggest risk. So take risks. If you are especially in 20s, take more risks and try to start new things. And the third and last point, which I think matters the most to me, is that be grateful. I think as a creator, I feel very, very grateful that I am born in this age. If we look at the history of all creators who have been out there, electricity took 50 years to get mass adoption. As a creator, I can't wait 2 years, I really want people to see what I've built. I want to make a difference in their lives. I want to see my product really being used in the market, right? We went from electricity or telephone taking over 50 years to get mass adoption to today where Pokemon Go was downloaded in every single cell phone across the world in a single day, right? So today, if you're a creator, you can impact the world in a much more meaningful way. And I think we should be grateful for that to happen. You get a lot of respect, and you should see this as an opportunity, and you should not miss it.
Josh Talks is now a Spotify exclusive podcast. The audio version of our talks will be available only on Spotify. If you like this video and you like to listen to more inspiring stories like this, please follow the Josh Talks podcast only on Spotify.
क्योंकि आप जोश टॉक्स देख रहे हैं, जाहिर सी बात है कि आप अपनी जिंदगी में आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं। ये जाहिर सी बात है कि आप अपनी ज़िंदगी को सीरियसली लेते हैं, आप वो सारे स्किल्स एक्वायर करना चाहते हैं जिससे आप ज़िंदगी में तरक्की कर सकें, लोगों से आगे बढ़ पाएं। और अगर ये सच है तो जोश टॉक्स का ही एक ऐप है जोश स्किल्स, जहां एग्जैक्टली इसी चीज़ को करने के लिए बहुत ही खूबसूरत बहुत सारे कोर्सेज बनाए गए हैं। कोर्सेज जो लाखों स्टूडेंट्स ऑलरेडी ले चुके हैं। ये कोर्सेज स्पेसिफिकली सिर्फ एजुकेशनल नहीं है जहां आप एक्सेल स्किल्स, पावर पॉइंट स्किल्स और ये सब सीख सकते हैं, बल्कि लाइफ स्किल्स भी हैं जहां आप पब्लिक स्पीकर कैसे बना जाए वो सीख सकते हैं, आप कॉन्फिडेंस कैसे एक्वायर कर सकते हैं वो सीख सकते हैं, आप हेजिटेशन के बिना कैसे बोलें वो सीख सकते हैं, आप अपनी पर्सनालिटी कैसे डेवलप कर सकते हैं वो सीख सकते हैं। हर एक कोर्स में डेली क्विजेज हैं, एक्सरसाइजेज हैं, एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत कम्युनिटी है जो आपको सपोर्ट करेगी, आपको इनकरेज करेगी। तो अगर आपको ये टॉक पसंद आया हो, जोश टॉक्स जो करता है वो पसंद है, तो आपको जोश स्किल्स भी बहुत बहुत ही फायदेमंद लगेगा। आज ही डाउनलोड करें जोश स्किल्स का ऐप और उनके कोर्सेज एक्सप्लोर करके अपनी जिंदगी को आगे बढ़ाएं।